I can't remember exactly when. I mean, was it just about homeschooling, or was there something happening about homeschooling when we did it?
No, I think it was just about time to do
Yeah.
something about homeschooling. It had been going on, it'd been going on in my house for ages, and it was like, oh yeah, here we go. This is what we need to do.
Yeah, and BBC Six Music had, because all the parents had their kids at home, had become like a thing that was going on, and I think that it had reached this point of kind of hysteria by the time when we let this go, just at the point where people had kind of their brains were capsizing and they were blowing gaskets left, right, and centre. And I'm speaking to a friend of mine, Lou from Public Image Limited, who is the nicest person that you will ever meet in your life. And he was saying, I'm really having a hard time. And then everybody I spoke to said, I'm having a really hard time. And so I think it was when we thought, well, why don't we do something about homeschooling then, just to show solidarity? And of course you were actually experiencing it, weren't you, Paul?
Yeah, I had sort of, to be fair, I had three very well-behaved and conscientious teenagers in the house, which, I needed to do a little bit of IT, be an IT expert, running around sorting out the internet and various downloads and things like that. But once they got into their stride, they were really good. I know people, who were basically teaching primary school kids, and it was absolutely like sort of hell on earth, just chaos. And, kids understandably not understanding what's going on. I'm at home. Why am I doing this? And, and then some schools just being really shoddy about it and others being really fantastic about it. And do you know what I mean? The different levels of what kids were getting was quite wildly varying.
A culture developed around it as well, of course. So, I mean, kids being incredibly quick adapters, they suddenly realized that they didn't have to wear any clothes below their waist. So they're all in their pants. And then they were working out that they could actually get out of bed 30 seconds before their school started. And of course, their parents, having been stuck with their children all the time, the longer their children spent in bed meant the longer, the less time they had to spend with their children. So they were then becoming complicit in that whole thing. And so it was interesting hearing this new culture of how parents and children were coping together at home. And so what I did then to get the lyric together was to put a thing out on social media for Six Music listeners and said, could you just tell me what you're doing, what it's about at home during lockdown for homeschooling? And this tsunami of replies came through on Twitter. And so I just wrote them all down and then so all of the lyrics in there are comments from parents. So I didn't actually write any of it. I just assembled it, and to try and reflect back what people were experiencing. And then so I just did that, and then sent you the lyric, and it came back as a 80s hip hop extravaganza. I was so impressed when it came back. It was great.
Yeah, I don't know why it inspired me to go down the sort of mid-80s electro route. Well, one, it's one of my sort of oldest loves musically anyway. I love, I grew up on that stuff. I loved it. And it just seemed like a really good excuse to dive in and do it. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's the word school, like homeschooling and old school and things. I don't know if there's some kind of weird mental kind of connection that just came to me, but that was instantly it. And then actually it was things like words like Cyborg Nation, and I thought, oh great, so we need to vocode that. What if we're going to vocode it, then we need to make it an electro track. Okay, let's go. And it kind of I think that was part of the whole process as well. And just thinking about the sort of math section and numbers and video games as well. Video games, that's when video games sort of really exploded. So I guess it kind of took me back to that era. I mean, it was great fun to go and unashamedly explore that era again. But again, that's the other mad thing, all in one day. Do you know what I mean? As you have to remember, we were doing this, you would have sent that to me on a Wednesday, I did it on a Thursday, and it got to Sean on a Friday. There's no time to even think about it, so you just kind of have to go with your gut feeling and roll with it. And it was yeah, it was immense fun. I think that was, I can remember laughing doing the last kind of verse, putting, making you sing through the vocoder. That was good fun.